ഹലോ, ബെൻഡിക് സാർ കേൾക്കാവോ? ബെൻഡിക് സാർ കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ?
കേൾക്കാം. ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ്.
ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ് സാർ. സുഖമായിരിക്കുന്നു സാറേ. യാത്ര നന്നായിട്ട് പോകുന്നില്ലേ?
സുഖമായിരിക്കുന്നു. ഞാൻ യാത്രയിലില്ല.
യാത്രയിലില്ലേ?
ഇല്ല. അത് എനിക്ക് സബ്സ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഡ്യൂട്ടി എടുക്കാൻ ആരുമില്ല. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ അച്ഛൻ പറഞ്ഞു പോകണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു.
ഓക്കെ സാർ. ഓക്കെ. Tara?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Shall we start the program?
Okay, ma'am.
Sir, Anu sir? Shall we start?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. I think my audio.
Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome.
Sir, good evening, Benedict sir. After a long time.
How are you?
Yeah, fine, sir.
Okay.
Now from north to east again. Yeah.
Okay, welcome.
Yes, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Shall we start, sir?
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Respected Principal, sir, Dr. K.Y. Benedict, our Research Coordinator, Dr. Bindu ma'am, our invited Speaker of the Day, Dr. Anu GS, and dear all participants, good evening. Thank you for being with us today. Prayer, the way to hope, the way to light, the way to start. Let us start today's session with a prayer. The prayer. Welcoming is the most beautiful way to homemaking. To do the welcome address, I invite Anju CK onto the line. Anju ma'am, please.
Tara, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, very much.
A happy warm evening to one and all. Myself, Anju CK, research scholar, Mathio Phillips Training College, Nalanchira. I am here to welcome you all to the session with all my heart. I welcome our dear principal, Dr. K.Y. Benedict, for all his mighty words and deed to inspire us. Welcome, dear sir. A genuine warm welcome to dear Dr. Anu GS, our today's resource person and guest of honor. And thank you for sharing this valuable time with us. Welcome, sir. I wholeheartedly welcome our research coordinator, Dr. Bindu ma'am, for being a support and pathfinder for the research wing. Welcome, ma'am. The soul and trust of our insight inductees, our participants. I welcome the elegant souls to our today's talk, Research Ethics and Reporting. Have a happy time ahead and enjoy the leisure of knowledge at your fingertips. Welcome all once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Anju ma'am. A little of the homemaking process. Dear participants, please mute your audio and video for the smooth, uninterrupted conduction of the session. Do follow the instructions of the resource person and feel free to post your queries in the chat box. You can also make it in person during the deliberation session. Once again, we heartily appreciate your presence here today. Today's talk is on research ethics and reporting. Our resource person, Dr. Anu GS. To know Dr. Anu GS sir as a resource person, let us have a short intro. Dr. Anu GS, MSc, MEd, PhD, and postdoctorate in education. Sir has served as member in the Board of Studies, published books and book chapters, 17 journal publications, presented papers in international conferences and national seminars. Sir's area of interest include psychology in education, research, curriculum development, and so on. Sir is presently chairing as Associate Professor, Department of Education, Nagaland. We welcome you heartily, sir, to our session. Welcome, sir. And without much waffling, let me hand over the cue to our today's speaker, Dr. Anu GS. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you, Taraji, for a nice introduction. And I'm very much, delighted to the all faculty members of Mar Theophilus Training College, particularly the senior faculty, Benedict sir, Bindu madam, and I think many of you might be, some of you might be familiar to you because last 10 years I am away from my hometown, Thiruvananthapuram. Basically, I belongs to Trivandrum, but last 9 years I worked as a faculty in the Department of Education of Central University of Himachal Pradesh as an assistant professor, and recently I got an entry to the associate level in the East Side Central University, Nagaland Central University. So like in the courts which we have gone through the prayer, everything is a blessings from the God Almighty. Whatever be the things we are, it is the grace which we are receiving God Almighty. So I thank God for giving me an opportunity to discuss one of the very scholarly group of Mar Theophilus Training College. I think some of my PhD scholars in Central University of Himachal Pradesh might join senior students and junior students who have PhD. I have shared the link to them also. If they would like to attend, let them attend. So the topic which I will here also in Kohima, it's heavily raining and heavily. So might be I think audio now I'm audible, right? Taraji, can you verify my sound is reaching, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Very clear.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah. So in between, if some kind of audio issue will happen, then I will switch off my video so that the voice will be clear to you. And the topic which I would like to share you is a very common topic nowadays. It's research ethics, plagiarism, and reporting. So it's a big topic. So with the allotted time of 1 hour, maybe 45 minutes, so we will have a discussion about some of the concerns of these topics, research ethics. So we are so thankful to the UGC and all the governing body. Now the research methodology is compulsory as part of the coursework. So in the research methodology in all the university, whether it is state university, central university, all kinds of institution now, we are all teaching a paper of research ethics and plagiarism. So that is a good way to familiarize, making an awareness. Through that awareness only, we will be able to avoid the issues which are knowingly or unknowingly, which will happen during our research process and reporting, so that we can able to produce research in quantitatively or qualitatively without any kinds of bias or what we can say legal issue. And we will honor the IPR, intellectual property right, and all the things. So During the presentation, I thought, okay, from where should I start? So I asked the Bindu madam. Then she shared me the most of you belongs to the audience belongs to the research way, so that it will be useful for your reporting stage. Okay, because anyway, at the different phase of the research procedure, right from the research proposal to the synopsis preparation, we have to go through a lot of write-ups, manuscripts. So what are the things which you have to keep in mind while publication? At the same time, while we are preparing something for the different phases of the research, that was my main objective behind today's lecture. The main instructional objective which I focused was what are the care which have to be taken into account during your reporting, either in the form of a research article, periodical, monograph, research proposal, or even the finally the scholarly output called thesis. Let me I think I'll share a slide. Okay, for okay, so this is on just for a one slide which I prepared you. We will go a little bit. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, I think the screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so when we think about a write-up, okay, manuscripts, there are different types of manuscripts which we are usually using. So the most popular two articles are empirical articles, okay, which we say. Just give me a minute. So I think yeah, you will get more clarity. So I switch off my video so that the audio clarity will be high. Sorry. So empirical article, literature review article, theoretical article, methodological article, case studies. These are I have prepared this lecture based on the APA manual. APA is the reference style which was following by the all the education students, so social science, humanities, and we are all following this APA manual. So when we prepare a manual, when we prepare a write-up, most of our write-up is when you want to submit an article for publication. So that time the ethics is a part and parcel of different phases of the research. But ethics is more significant when we talk regarding the publication side. That is most commonly people are saying, but it is not only in the publication time, it is right from the beginning. Right from the beginning, ethics are some kind of moral codes. We know the difference between values and ethics. So ethics are the practical things which we have to keep in mind when we are doing any kinds of research work, academic work. There also academic ethics is there. So as a research scholar, when we will start our research journey, right from the field work or right from the pilot study, or even right from the sincerity which you are keeping in presenting your research gap or the area where you are rationalizing your research problem. So in all these areas, the ethics is necessary. Okay, so we can delimit the scope of the ethics only in the publication time. But most of the times, the ethical things are, we are talking more regarding the publication of the thesis. We will go for the plagiarism checkup. Lot of softwares are there, and the university itself, they are following some kind of software. So they will ask you to go through the software, whether you did some kind of fabrication, whether you did some kind of falsification, any plagiarism. So these things. So let me have an idea. I think this is very common to all of you. Most of the time we will prepare empirical articles. So and sometimes we will prepare literature review article, theoretical articles, methodological article, and case study article. These are the different types of manuscripts which we are preparing and which we are submitting to the publication agency for publication. And I will just see, these are the 3 points. This is not my point. These are the points which I have taken from the American Psychological Association guideline. So according to the APA guideline, internationally accepted, they are saying we have to keep in mind 3 important things, okay, before publication of anything. So, okay, let me delimit my ethical view of the research only in the publication and reporting stage. Otherwise, it will be a very broad area which we will take, I think, hours for discussion. Okay, so then only the objective behind this particular lecture will be clear, and you will get something, and I will also able to convey something within the limited time. Okay. So the ethical and legal standards in publication, the first thing is we have to ensure the accuracy of the scientific knowledge. This is very prime. So whatever be the accuracy which you have to, accuracy, transparency, and other things. Okay, we all know when we will talk something about the research, the 2 important thing is the validity and reliability. Okay, so we all will try to establish, we will all try to ensure the consistency and accuracy of the data in different phases of the research. Okay, so when we think about this, so when I am talking about the accuracy of the scientific knowledge, okay, we can see some of the points I have selected from the guideline. It's very common. Okay, I will share you this PPT also with you, so that it is no need to write down. You just clearly listen, and at the interaction time we will have a live interaction to clarify some of the doubts. Okay. So, what is, research is a scientific method. We all know it is an inductive deductive process. Sometimes we use triangulation. Sometimes we use multiple methods. Sometimes we use qualitative come quantitative method. Sometimes we will support the quantitative research with case study. There are different kinds of, because now research is earlier there is a kind of particular style is there. Some people will work in quantitative, some people will work in qualitative. Now the trend has been changed. We are not focusing upon the approach. We want a qualitative output. So that's why some of the people will start from the survey research, and then they will, based upon the survey literature, they will find some kind of a proper sample for doing their experimentation. And after the experimentation, in order to substantiate some of their finding, they will go for some case study. So when you will use multiple methods, that is what we call it triangulation. Method triangulation is there, data triangulation is there. So then the empiricity of the work and the accuracy and transparency of the scientific output will increase. So that's why scientific method involves observation that can be repeated and verified by the others. For example, I did a very good research in, for example, inclusive education. I developed a very good, awareness program or module for literating the parents regarding the big concept of inclusive education, which was recommended by, UN agency for the developing country particularly. But, your argument and your, whatever be the module, you have to give to the public whether the things are practical. Okay, let the people will comment, let the people will introspect, let the people will give their opinion. Then only we can say, means any scientific method, when it will undergo serious observation and repeated and verified by many people. That's why the importance of citation index and impact factor. When your work will be cited by many people, the credibility of your article will be increased, and moreover, the credibility and the authenticity of that research area will also increase. So that means whenever you will prepare some write-up, this is what we have to keep in mind. We have to be very much objective. We have to be given a lot of substantiation by using multiple method or by using multiple research tools that as per the needs of that particular research area. But still we are human being. Even social science is allowing 10% of what we can say, that kind of error. Means 0.1 to 0.5. Even some of the people will go up to 0.2 level, that level of significance. Okay, means the individual's opinion, attitude, these all will change. So sometimes your argument, especially when you are doing a research like ethnography, and your own perceptions or your own research questions might not be in tune with that particular other reader they may observe. So they will come with a lot of ideological issue. They will come with a lot of arguments. So and if you will convince that some of your research which you published in any manuscript, okay, whether it is research report, journal, wherever be, and if it is you made a mistake, and that otherwise some other fellow they are saying that no, your argument is not concrete, your argument has not sound rational. So then if you will find that it is some error, you acknowledge the error. That is the very important open-mindedness which is required for the researcher. If anyone will challenge you, accept the challenge as a positive criticism. That is what we call constructive criticism, and then accordingly you make an intensive review, and you find any kinds of mistakes, okay, inform the publisher and editor, you make a correction notice, and now most of the journals have online issue also, so you can append okay, that correction notice in the online database. So whenever the next fellow will read your article, and when okay, this appended will come, and they can make a kind of correction notice. What I would like to say, we have to ensure the accuracy of the scientific knowledge. This is the very prime duty which all the many times we will publish the articles in very good journal. Okay, I will show you one of the very interesting work which is going on with one of my student recently. She is very powerful in R software. So she asked me, I would like to do a meta-analysis upon the literature review. And what she did, she has I will show you that the way she made the meta-analysis, and with her professional knowledge, what she did, she made a lot of. So these are some of the, yesterday only she shared with me some kind of biblio analysis of because some of the journals like Sage, Routledge, they used to need more concrete documents. So some of the plots she has made based upon her professional language. It is not mandatory that we all need to go through this kind of high-level software analysis also. What I would like to say, whatever be the things, okay, whether you are doing high-level software analysis or you are doing simple percentage analysis, that doesn't matter. But the data, the raw data which is supporting your argument has to be keep in your account. API is suggesting you have to retain the raw data minimum 5 years, because you publish an article in Taylor and Francis, or you publish an article in Sage or any Indian journal, including NCRT journal, or if someone will counter argue your observation or your findings or your some of the reflections, okay, you have to share the data. That means that is called the openness of the sharing. Open sharing of the data is sometimes it is not better to reveal their identity. We all know that thing, privacy and confidentiality. So, and another important thing, which most of the time in India, which is whenever we are going for a data collection, usually the research institute or research supervisor will sign your that bona fide certificate. Head of the institution will issue the letter, and with the letter you will approach the sampling area and you will show the maybe principal or any kinds of beneficiaries your permission to collect the data. But most of the times we are not taking the permission or written agreement from the sample. So it is actually it is very much necessary. If for example, when you publish an article in top journals, okay, they will ask you to attach a copy of the written agreement of the you that is used only for the research purpose. Your most of the whatever be the things, rules, norms, everything you clearly note down in this written agreement, and then you keep. Most of the time, why most of our journals are not accepting. I know one of the experience. One of my PhD students, she worked in critical pedagogy, and after the PhD thesis, she sent her.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, there's a disturbance in your audio, sir. It's not so clear now.
Sir, if we can quit and re-enter, it would be rectified, please.
Yeah. Actually, what happened here in Kohima, raining with heavy, wind, and that might be the reason. So, I may now. Am I audible, Madam Tara?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. I will not share my video so that audio clarity will be more clear. Anyway, is the screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Even if you have some audio clarity, I will close this PowerPoint presentation. Then we will have an audio interaction, because anyway it's a common topic which we are talking. Only we will have a constructive discussion. Then only this issue can be resolved. That was what my experience is. So I was just explaining one of the personal experience which I have in publication in the first PhD thesis of my student Priyanka. So she did a very good work, and at that time what happened? So she has not submitted a written agreement from the some of the things like which we are expecting from that publisher. So that is the first comment which we received along with the peer-reviewed remarks. So then only they will accept the article for the further reviews and other things. So anyway, that's not come under the part of the discussion. Anyway, what I would like to say, whatever be the raw data, whether it is primary, secondary, even the data which you are using for showing how you identify the research gap, those all secondary data, if possible, the full text, if possible, you keep it in a soft copy, and whenever if someone will challenge your argument, okay, you can definitely share the data, so that will be. And another two important thing which is coming in most of the publication, that was particularly mentioned by most of the ethical manner. One is called duplicate publication of the data, another is called piecemeal publication of the data. Okay, so it is normally we will call it falsification and fabrication. What these two terminology we all know. Duplicate publication means publication of the same data or idea in multiple sources. So that is not expecting from a scholarly work what we are saying. So whatever be the data which is trying to comprehend, the nature of a scientific data, we know the two attributes of the scientific data is one is comprehensive and another is cohesiveness. So when you break a very good data into multiple data, multiple sources, you want to increase the number of publication by unhealthy breaking. There are two breaking. One is called unhealthy breaking, but there are some breaking we will break, because if it is not related to the main objective, if it is not related to the main research problem, definitely we can break it and we can publish it in multiple resources. But unhealthy breaking of the same data in order to get benefits from the multiple resources, that is what we call duplicate publication of the data. That is a highly unethical practice in the research. Okay, so some of the issues, these are exactly I have selected from the APA guideline, which I will share you along the group. Okay, it is mentioned there 2-3 points. It is highly not in tune with it is copyright violation. The first thing is okay, and this point you can see research articles, research papers. Each line, each page of the manuscripts are treated as okay, they are very valuable resources. So when you will simply increase the number of articles in multiple sources, so it is a time waste for many people. It is not a welcome resource. But anyway, some conditions we can mention. Like whatever, if the material which you are want to duplicate, if it is small relative to the total length, you can do. But the condition is you have to exactly cite the original source, and also whatever, even the tables and figures, like some of the table figures, sketches, someday your conceptual framework. Okay, someday when you are developing a theoretical article, you need to prepare a very good skeletal system of the ideological development of that is what we call the conceptual framework of your theoretical setup. So those things you can repeat, but in the footnote we have to clearly mention, if somewhere else you made a printing, you have to show original source both in the in-text and the reference list. In-text is whatever be the things which is cited inside the body is called in-text, and the detailed biblio is called a reference list. We know these things. So due to the limited time, we are just the objective is just making a kind of awareness only, not a skill section. This is not a skill session. That's why I'm going from one point to other point without much emphasis upon the particular thing. Another is piecemeal publication. Duplicate publication is exactly copying. That is what we call the plagiarism. Plagiarism in duplicate publication, we can say self-plagiarism. It is the plagiarism, self-plagiarism means we ourselves are getting the credit by unnecessarily splitting our documents into multiple documents, and we are just gaining. Sometimes we will publish in book chapter, sometimes we will publish in the journal article, and in that way we are just increasing our credibility. So that is what we call self-plagiarism. But piecemeal publication, that is also unnecessarily splitting of finding from one research article into multiple article. I already told you. Okay, so comprehensiveness and cohesiveness we have to ensure. Then only we will be able to convey the message to the public or convey the message to the audience which we supposed to convey in a very scientific way. So avoid these two things. So that's why these three terminology is nowadays in the UGC. If you will see the UGC RPE syllabus, Research Publication Ethics, is a compulsory paper for all PhD scholars. So in the syllabus, you can see these three terminology: plagiarism, falsification, and fabrication. Fabrication is unhealthy, breaking and unhealthy cooking. And falsification, even though you got a data in a very different way, but in order to substantiate some of your research objective, or in order to substantiate some of your research arguments, you are just making some kind of modification. So that is not welcoming in a research field. So these are some, and plagiarism, it's a very quite common now. Or if we will do intentionally copying without citing the article or anything, that is what we call. I think it's quite common term, no need of any explanation. So these are something. And another thing is, so the three terminology, the first thing is we have converted regarding the ethical things regarding the reporting. One is ensure the accuracy of the scientific knowledge. So in order to ensure the accuracy of the scientific knowledge, let me conclude what we discussed. One is, okay, wherever you face that your data is wrong, admit, accept, and attach the correction notice according to the. Another thing is you keep your data at least for 5 years. At any time anyone will challenge, let you share and make the concreteness of your argument. And the third point, which I mentioned you that you have mentioned, unhealthy breaking, unhealthy splitting. That is what we call piecemeal and a duplicate publication, and avoid all kinds of falsification, fabrication, and plagiarism. So the second point is related to the protecting the rights and welfare of the research participants. It's a very important thing. When you do quantitative research, okay, most of the times, it is not much coming into the scene, like rights, but still it is there. But when you are doing some kind of, especially when you are doing some kind of anecdotal studies, qualitative research, and even some of the research in the tribal area, coastal area, or some of the research which is related to some kind of challenged area. I don't want to mention the particular, and we know. So that time, we have to protect their rights. You are extracting the original picture by collecting the data in multiple ways. You may be observing, you may be interviewing, you may be doing a kind of extensive case study. Someday you will do exploratory analysis. Sometime you will do ex post facto research, whatever be. But whatever be the methodology or whatever be the mode of operandi, the very important thing is we have to protect the rights and welfare of the research participants. So for that, what we have to do, that's why I told you. Now I'm requesting or not requesting. I am asking all my research scholars, whosoever is doing, wherever you want to collect the data, first you prepare a kind of what we can say a proper instruction with the intention you just mentioned. Firstly, the purpose of the research study. Then you mention the importance of the study in this particular scenario, whether they would like to read, not to read, that is their own part. And finally, you just mentioned the scope and implications of the study. And finally, so these all things we have to reveal, and then accordingly take an agreement with the participants. Okay, if they are not literate, you can go for the role of an enumerator. You know the difference between questionnaire and schedule. In schedule, we will explain each and questions, and you will collect the. So if the respondent, suppose you are collecting data from a illiterate groups, then you explain the procedure, you explain the plan of action which you are going to do. And accordingly, you take a consent from the individual sampling area, and that has to be you keep in mind. And then we are protecting the rights, and also whenever we are interacting. And my simple request to a simple and humble request to all the research scholars, they are listening. We are preparing a very emotional acknowledgement. We are preparing a very emotional acknowledgement. We will start by appreciating the head of the institution. We start appreciating all the faculty members. We start appreciating all kinds of our friends, even family members, husband, wife, I don't know, sometimes 2-3 pages. Some people are writing their acknowledgement. But, the real, acknowledgement has to go to the sample. Many of the people, knowingly or unknowingly, they are not giving a simple greeting of one line to the sampling area from where you went, and from where all these research derivatives are coming. So don't forget to mention a sincere thanks from your heart to the sampling area from where you are collecting the sample, whether it is teachers, students, poor village people, community, wherever be. So please, so this just a thoughts came in my mind. When you prepare the final research dissertation or thesis, in your acknowledgement, definitely give some kind of due appreciation or acknowledgement to thanks to the sample from where you develop all kinds of your ideology. Okay. And another very important thing is, I just delimit my, explanation upon these things. You have to protect the rights and welfare of research participants, whatever be the sensitive information regarding caste, creed, tradition, custom, all these things you have to be very carefully, you have to, incorporate in your argument or developing your final findings. And IPR is very important, publication credit. In India, it's a very sorry to say, many times this is a big battle of APA. Many of the teachers, supervisors, they are fighting for the first order, second order, third order. Please don't go for a panic. In most of the good publication in the abroad, there is no hierarchy of, like labeling. Okay. When more publishers will come, the credit of the article will come. The Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence. The concept was popularized by Daniel Goleman. Emotional intelligence most famous fellow. He's a management expert. But how his study will got much credibility due to all the brain research done by Lee Diox. Lee Diox done neuro research. He studied about the role of amygdala and that's why his concept got more scientific empiricity. So that is the beauty of interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. So whenever you try to pull out many like-minded people, that's very important. Don't use XYZ. Wherever you will be able to combine like-minded people, let them come together. You add them. And my ideology and my philosophy, I don't know whether some of you might agree or not agree. Order of authorship. Whosoever is working more, they have to get more credit. If the supervisor and research scholar is working, if the research scholar is working more, let them be the first. So there is no first, second position, nothing. So that depends upon, it's not a big debatable thing. Okay. Anyway, sometimes if you want to get a publication, you respect more to the supervisor, then let him be the first. But there should not be any kinds of moral battle or moral argument or intellectual debate between this authorship. But the rule is saying whosoever is working more, they have to get the more credit. So so this philosophy and this ethics, this is something coming from your inner psyche. So don't go for unhealthy competition. I thank all my sincere teacher in Kerala. Okay, from where I got a lot of things. Okay, anyway, what I feel, unhealthy competition is not needed. Okay, you have a time. That time I still remember. For the memory of the research scholars, I will just share you one of my personal experience. May not be, it is not related to the present publication. Am I audible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. One of my interview where I appeared in interview, I don't want to mention the name. In that interview, one fellow came with a big, big bag, trolley bag, having, I don't know how many books he published, how many articles he published, n number of articles, unimaginable. In the interview, which is happening in Central University, Himachal Pradesh, I'm explaining. And the chairman of the interview, and the main expert of the interview is, Professor Krishna Kumar. Professor Krishna Kumar is, he was the former NCRT, director. So when this fellow came with all these lot of publication, he has a book in philosophy. Don't want to mention all the things. A lot of things. Then he made a comment. The comment I will say you for your awareness. I don't think so. I am eligible to interview you because your API score is double or triple times more than my API. A serious professor, he is always writing in the Hindu newspaper and very big, pioneer documents. He is making a comment to that particular interviewee that I am not. Seems that I am eligible to make an interview upon you. See what it say. Within a short time, if you will make unhealthy number of publication for increasing the API, no use now. So even if you have 5 articles, please you keep that article, publish in a very right way. Also I have a suggestion to when you become a research supervisor. Also, if you will go for some interview with your name always. Some of the qualitative people, they will ask you, okay, whether you did the research or your student did the research. I know because even though I have very limited service, I got an opportunity to engage with some of the small committees. That's why I'm just ensuring you, don't go for credit, don't go for unhealthy competition. Don't, when you will do serious thing, your innocency, your commitment, your all kinds of originality will be reflected in your interview board through your talk and through your work. So this is a common conclusion which I would like based upon my practical limited experience based upon this IPR right. So intellectual property right, please properly acknowledge all the documents and other things. Okay, I will just check the time. Oh, it is so I may give within 10 minutes. I will somewhat in order to increase the quality of the publication. I will share you one of this up to this time I was sharing based upon the American Psychological Original Text, chapter 1 and chapter 2 was the data, the source which I used for explaining these 3 points of ensuring the accuracy of the scientific knowledge, protecting the rights and welfare of the participants sample, and finally the intellectual property right and other things. Okay, Now the next coming 4 or 5 slides, I don't think so I could be able to complete, but I will share you that I got from Australian university. That university, I will share you the original text, which I will share with you. That is very useful documents when you want to prepare a manuscript. Let me try one time. Okay, if it is coming, I can show you. Yeah, this is the document, very useful, handy document, which all research scholars can particularly use when you want to make any kinds of. This is an APA reference style, which was published by CQ University, Central Queensland University of Australia, that is the Commonwealth of Australia. Okay, they have prepared a very handy manual. So this manual is almost, I think, just a minute.
Sir,
Almost, yeah, please.
sir, there is no need to hurry up with your presentation. That time there was no power supply in this area. That's why I told about. Now it is getting okay. There is no need
Thank you.
presentation.
So I can slowly move. No, ma'am. I can move up to 7:30, right?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So because this is useful for the research scholars, that's why I was this I will share you. I will give to Bindu madam. So madam will share you all. This is a very handy documents, and this documents is prepared in such a way. It will give you a complete picture about how to cite. In India, you can see in most of the PhD thesis, the students are doing very beautiful research, very qualitative research, hard-working fellows. But when they are doing their write-up, when they are doing their reporting stage, knowingly or unknowingly, many of the mistakes they are happening. And that's why when you are putting in any kinds of plagiarism software like Orkun or wherever be, you can see n number of plagiarism issues are coming. So if you will follow the Pakka APA style, what I would like to say, as per the APA style, you will be free to avoid almost 70% of unhealthy plagiarism, and you can free to submit your research. Okay, means so you go through these documents. So this document is giving a complete picture about how to cite from books, journals, having many other reports, conference papers, university materials, even many things. You please, according to your free time, you can have a look upon these different things. So my remaining 10-15 minutes presentation, I will give you some glimpse from this Central Queensland University manual. That was the second supplementary reading material which I used for giving some lecture. Okay, so we all know these are the three important phases of a report. So the second part of my topic was research reporting. So in all report, there are three parts. We all know: prelims, main body, and reference material. No need to note down. You please listen. I will share you this PPT which I prepared. You use this PPT for your presentation. There is no patent. There is. Please cut it. Kindly give me a minute. I think. Am I audible? I got a call. That's why I'm little doubt whether I'm able to.
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Thank you. Yeah. So what I would like to say, there is patent for anyone. Even though I prepare a PPT, I am sharing you. So you please use it and you disseminate the idea. Knowledge has to be shared. That's why now OER is coming. OER means Open Educational Resources. So when you keep your data, hey, this is my 10-hour hard work I prepared, so I will not share to anyone. So you don't keep that kind of an attitude also. That is another suggestion which I would like. When you try to share, you can modify. In the next lecture, you prepare something innovative. That's my one point which I can suggest to, because many of the people are not sharing their prepared manuscripts. Anyway, so these are some of the things. You please listen. Okay, when you prepare the front matter, these are the things you have to keep in mind. Okay, I'm not going to explain. Like, one important thing is, in acknowledgement, you give a due weightage to the samples. Okay, and if some of your thesis contains some kind of abbreviation, notation, nomenclature. So, for example, if you are doing a research in PER, physics education research, and there are some kind of chemical names, symbols. So all those things you keep in, because most of the Indian thesis, they are ending with a list of appendix. But still, if you are using some abbreviations, notations, nomenclature like chi, psi, phi, NH3, many things. No? So you keep it in a separate page and keep it short. Okay. And another thing is common things I am not explaining. Okay. Another very important thing is in the main text. Okay. Chapterization, there is no particular chapterization, but in India, sorry, we are following most of the time on common style. That's why introduction chapter, theoretical chapter, review chapter, methodology chapter, analysis chapter, conclusion chapter. Okay, so there is no hard and fast rule. You just keep in touch with the rules and norms of your research institute. If the research institute has some publication, some particular publication norms, you follow that norms. Otherwise, you start your research, you start your writing by a research journey kind of things. Okay, you have a journey, how you identify the research problem, how you internalize the research problem, how you identify the research gap. So narratively you can write like the most of the foreign thesis which you can see. It's a kind of novel reading, a roadmap from the day on. They perceive the problem and the day and the end day, how they reflect the entire problem. So that we can generalize. That depends upon the university authority. According to the guideline, you can follow. Okay, so these are the things. But in this thing, I would like to mention one thing. These all we will. Okay, always you give a rationale. That's very important. So whether it is quantitative research or qualitative research, at least after the need and significance, you give a rationale. Rationale is very important. Okay, how you are justifying your study. So when you have a rationale, because in a research, the role of a researcher is like an advocate. Keep in mind, advocate. Advocate means advocate has a lot of handy raw material to argue. So I always ask my research scholars, you prepare a research album. Research album is a collection of all related documents. Maybe something published in newspaper, something from here and there, whatever be. So that's a strong argument. No? So when you are standing in a research dais, many people will ask you many questions. Sometimes question will be constructive criticism. Sometimes in order to lose your confidence also, people will ask you question. They will, but you keep in mind, my dear research scholars, once you cross 1 year or 1.5 years, even you are very much intellectual than your supervisor. Because your supervisor is just checking the procedure of the study, but you are knowingly or unknowingly, even in your unconscious and subconscious mind also, lot of concepts are going on, and you try to increase your self-esteem. Please, many of our research scholars, including my research scholars, I feel when the dais will ask a lot of questions, they start lose confidence. But don't lose this. No? You understand that you are seriously devoting your time. So after some time, you are more, knowledge means I'm not want to make you pride or something. In order to enhance your self-esteem, you keep some of the additional supplements. What I would like to say, keep a portfolio research album where you have a lot of argument. If someone will argue, no, this way is not, this assumption is not right. This research question has no logic at all. So show with the help of some of your primary data or secondary data, you take some paper from your album, argue. That's why rationale is very important. Okay. Remaining things, we all know. Just I want to significance. Okay. And these are the common things which we will follow. I'm not going to explain. If you have any doubt at the interaction time, we will have a live discussion. And then when we will go to the main body of the thesis. Okay, summary and conclusion. Okay, this is the last stage, and these are all different chapters. Main body. In quantitative research, you will present your research in the form of text, tables, and graph. If the qualitative research no need, okay, you can give us a narration or whatever be the method, like dialect or dialogue. Okay, if you are making a kind of discourse analysis, you can do in that way. Content analysis, follow whatever be the way you are. I would like to say one important thing now. Okay, when you conclude, okay, keep one important topic about the reflection of the thesis. Okay, this is what I would like to say. Remaining things we all do. Implication. Reflections of a thesis, a kind of introspection. Because most of the PhD scholars, they will spend almost 4 years, 3 years, maybe some of them 5 years. Oh, you make a critical examination about how you start your research journey. You can give 1 or 2 page reflection of the thesis. Okay. So when a fellow go through the reflection of the thesis, he will know, there is an interesting thing called force field analysis. What are the barriers and what are the driving force? Force field analysis is one of the very interesting research tool which we are using in critical discourse analysis. Okay, so what are the driving force, motivational force, which help you to complete this particular thesis? At the same time, you trustworthily mention what are the barrier, not in a negative way by mentioning X, Y, Z. The real battle, intellectual, emotional, physical, moral, which you have undergone through your research journey. So when you reflect this thing and when you present in a very narrative way, it will give some life to the thesis. And when the audience will read, they will see, PhD thesis is not a kind of cooking of some of the articles. The real pain, the real suffering, the real curiosity, the real incubation, which you how you evolve some idea. So you write something from your heart. So that I would like to say of my research scholars in my university also, at least do some real, picture about the scenario of your research study. So these things. So remaining, I think we are all writing. Okay. Now I think the time for discussion is open, but still Madam has given me 5 minutes more for the discussion. I will just familiarize this thing and I will share you for the citation. So citation and is very important. So APA is giving a citation style. This I have selected from that Australian University's manual. This is not my product. I exactly selected from that manual. That's why I just show you the original source. Okay, so in-text citation and reference list. These are the very important things. We all know when you cite something, we have to give the author name and also the year of publication and a page number and also punctuation. These are very important things. Okay, so when you will properly cite, you will be able to avoid a lot of plagiarism issue and citation errors and copyright violation also. Okay. So when you cite something, there are two ways of citation. Okay, this you can use in any, because citation is not coming only in the review of related literature. Forget about that. Is an old style. Wherever you can argue your finding. For example, when you in the discussion and finding chapter, you got a very, very, very valuable finding. So there also you substantiate your finding with the help of some secondary literature. Then the authenticity and I told you the accuracy of the scientific document will be increasing. So when you means you can cite anywhere of the thesis, not only in the introduction chapter, theoretical chapter and the review chapter, till the conclusion chapter. Even in your reflection also, you can substantiate your reflection or your implication, your recommendation, your suggestion, conclusion, whatever be, with some of the standard cited documents. So then they will feel that this is not your personal emotional finding. This is some of the finding that is tuned with the other research finding which across the same research field which happened in earlier. Oh, okay. So if you want to emphasize the author, you start like this. Okay, there are two ways, 4 ways of citation. If you are exactly quoting something, it is called quote. If you are copying some figures, it's called copy. And if you are converting someone else's idea and you are making into your own idea, that is what we call a paraphrasation. In all these areas, you have to give the citation, even though you are paraphrasing, but the original intellect is from someone else. So you can claim that, okay, I paraphrased, now I am not citing. Even though you are paraphrasing, at the end of the paraphrasation, you have to give the proper citation. Okay, that's compulsory. Okay, so you can read and you can understand. If you have some doubt, you can at any time, with the permission of the authority, organizing committee, you can talk me regarding this thing. Okay. Even otherwise, also I will share you my email and other things. Okay, because we will learn together. Because I am also not complete. I am also learning. So we will have an intellectual discourse. Okay. So if you want to cite author prominent, you can go in this way. If you want to cite in any information, if you are giving more weight, for example, see one example I will say. This is a gender sociologist. He mentioned gender equality is in schooling is an aspiration of global justice. Okay, you should be very careful. Inverted comma should be after the full stop. Okay, otherwise plagiarism software will pick you. Each comma, punctuation, column is very important. So, okay, see the spacing also. I will give you this material so that the rules is with you. Okay. So when you paraphrase, no need to put inverted comma. Okay, you can simply give the suggestion, but you have to give the other detail and including page number also. Okay. But in the information prominent, if you are giving emphasis upon the information, after the end, see, this is the way you close the inverted comma, then you can start the parenthesis, and then author name. This is Underhalter is the the gender fellow. He mentioned this particular argument, so we are giving this way. Okay. Italics, I think your use of italics. I'm just quoting. Italics is used for these things. Just I'm familiar. This very important. Quotation mark. Quotation mark is, if the number of words is less than 40, you can give inside a double quotation. But if the number of words exceeding 40, including your preposition, articles, everything, don't use double quotation mark. It's wrong. Okay, you omit the quotation mark. You have seen in many of the novels and running, there is a freestanding block. Okay, that will be separated from the main paragraph. So indent 1.25 centimeter from the left margin, and then all the remaining things, double spacing, same, and then you give the reference, after the final full stop. Be careful, like this. This is an example. Okay, 1.25 and capitalization, very important. Wherever you need to apply capitalization. Okay, APA, American Psychological Association style sheet is saying minimal capitalization for books, book chapter, journal article. Maximum capitalization only for journal and periodicals. Maximum capitalization means all the letters are capitalized. Okay, all the letters are capitalized. Okay, I think you can read from the main text. Okay, I will share it. When you are doing some kind of research, so for example, if you are doing a study upon the historical research, like you are doing some kind of relics documents regarding the Nalanda or Takshashila, say for example, so many spelling mistakes, so many issues you will see, but don't correct because you are quoting from the main primary data source. So wherever you will find some kind of mistakes, immediately after the word you put like this sick. Sick means it is not the mistake done by the investigator or the researcher. It was there in the original text. That wise, in order to identify them, you mention this word sick. Okay, I'm going a little fast. Page number, P is for single page, PP for double page. Online data source you can read. I'm just skipping. Et al. Also you all know. Et al. The meaning is many others. Rule you please read. And just one thing only I will conclude before the open discussion. And that these all you please go now. This is very important. Issue number and all. The area which we are quite common. We up to page number we will be careful. But be very careful when the journal has some kind of issue number and volume number. You follow that rule also. Okay, let me. Yeah, this one. Sorry. Yeah, so issue numbers are only needed if the journal is page native. If the journal has issue, then only this will come. But how the issue number is coming? Okay, immediately after this volume number, without any space, you have to give the issue number. Okay, without any space, you have to give issue number. So I will show you that original documents. Okay, there they have a demonstration like this. Original database from where I am presenting this thing. See like this. So I may try to enhance this thing. You can see. See, this is the way. See, volume number in italics. Volume number is in italics, not in normal. See, volume number in italics. Issue number in bracket, which is not in italics. See, microscopic things. Be very careful when you are doing citation. We all will keep in touch these all things. Author name, year, these all we will keep. Journal name in italics. But even this much care we have. Why I want to mention this thing? You should be very much care when you are doing some citation. That was the purpose behind my showing this thing. You should be very much thorough because it's a very sacred work. We can say it's a sacred work. Research is a very. Now let me conclude my presentation. Remaining things I will share you. So it is a very big thing. So feel proud about doing a researcher, and let me explain some of my personal, those research scholars, those they are feeling that you are spending a lot of time in PhD. Don't feel such kind of thing. Whatever be the time which you are spending for the PhD will be, I think, I'm so, happy. I think Isaac sir is also attending the seminar. He is one of my good teacher, and he was my senior PhD scholar in the School of Pedagogical Science. What I would like to say, the junior research scholars, from my experience, the time you spend for PhD or postdoctorate is never a waste. Don't feel like that. Okay, do the work in a very sincere heart. Within a short time, I think I got an entry to the associate level. Thank God Almighty first. Thank to my old teachers, my dear colleagues. Not my own brain. I am also like a common. I studied in government higher secondary school, Malayankil, a government school. And the roadmap, if I will reflect, it's not much, high level intellectual. But the institutions, I'm thankful to my dear teachers also. And wherever you will be able to keep transparency, objectivity, sincerity, and honesty, please keep that thing. That will definitely give you back, even though you are spending some more time for your PhD. Someday your PhD is not finishing within 5 years, 2-3 years. Do very seriously, and definitely you will get the reward from your gurus and from the God Almighty. With these words, I am concluding my small presentation on the topics of research, ethics, and plagiarism. And then now I'm giving you for your interaction or any doubt. As per my limited idea, I will give you my own understanding about the knowledge. My colleagues are also there with me. Okay, if you need more help, they will also. Please.
Participants, it's a deliberation session. Please get in.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for the sharing such a valuable information. Today, you also find it very difficult, lot of challenges, because it is raining heavily at that time. That's why I asked you to brief the presentation. Sorry very much. I apologize for that. It is very worthy presentation, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to know about the term you mentioned, that concept of force field analysis.
Yeah. Yeah. Force field analysis, ma'am, that is one of the technique which we are using in most of the qualitative research, especially. When we are going to do a kind of analysis, especially when we want to make a scientific analysis upon things, we will see like a SWOT analysis ka ek practical mode. In SWOT analysis, what we will do? We will do strength, weakness, opportunities, and challenges. So in SWOT analysis, what we will do in order to reach a particular goal, okay, in order to reach a particular goal, what we will do, we will see what are the motivational force, or what are the driving force which help me to achieve that particular goal. At the same time, what are the restraining force, that is the technical terminology. One is called driving force and another is the restraining force. For example, I can say like this, okay, when we are doing a research study, we will have limitations of the research. Limitations of the research, we know that is not due to our mistakes. We are delimiting ourselves. But some of the limitations of the research will come due to the many factors. Okay, some of the factors are beyond your control even. We can't do anything upon the data. So in the triangulation research, when you are doing some kind of narrative analysis, you can make a kind of what are the promotional factors or the driving forces which will lead to achieve the goal. At the same time, what are the restraining forces or the hindering forces? For example, in the qualitative research where we are doing portfolio analysis kind of things, okay, you can give the students also like a reflective journal kind of things. Okay, let the students introspect. Okay, what are the driving force which help them for increasing their motivation? At the same time, what are the hindering force which they experience from the school plant or the institution? They are not allowing them to carry over their study in a healthy way. So when we are doing some kind of case analysis, when we are doing some kind of strength weak analysis, even in the form of what we can say records analysis, we can use this force field analysis in a detailed way. And I have a book also. Okay, that book was published by that book is called Action Research for Teacher Educators. With the page number, I will mention. I will share you, Bindu madam. So lot of things, not only force field analysis, portfolio analysis, lot of innovative data collection techniques has been clearly explained. That is published from UK. That is a abroad journal, but very simple and lucid language. Action Research for Teacher Educators, that was written by Daniel Tolman. So that book, it is clearly mentioned the theoretical and the narrative analysis of the force field analysis. So that also I will share it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Participants, please proceed.
Yeah. Any more, interactions is welcome. Yeah, because we will learn together.
So there's a question in the chat box. Shall I read it for you, sir?
Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Sir, it's by Muni's Money. The person has asked about, please explain the use of et al. Et al.
Can you repeat, ma'am? I didn't,
Use of
in
et
between
al.
the voices.
Use of et al.
Et
sir.
al. Oh. Okay. I will just show you that use of et al. Sorry, I think some within 1 minute. It's a very I will share you that slide so that it will be very clear to that participants. I think my screen is in shareable mode. Taraji, is it?
No, sir.
Is
No,
visible,
sir.
no, this screen?
No, sir. It's not visible. It's not shared.
1 minute. Yeah, I will share you so that other than explaining, if I will share, yeah, it will be very clear. Just a minute. Within 1 minute. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir. It's coming.
Okay. I will just show this current slide only. Et al. Is we all using because I think some of the research scholars they are not familiar. Otherwise, for a reference with two authors, usually we will whenever we will cite, we will give the surname of both authors. But if the citation have more than two authors, say for example 3, 4, 5 authors, what we will do, we will list all authors' name in your first in-text reference. And in the second and subsequent references of the same work, you only give the first author name followed by et al. For example, I will just tell you. Say, for example, you are writing a review of literature. No? You are just making an abstract of the literature review. And in the literature review, maybe like this. This is a literature review by Chaffee, McMahon, and Stout. Okay. In the initial stage, you are saying, according to Chaffee, McMahon, and Stout 2002, you are saying some lines. But later again, you want to show the author prominent. You want to show the author again. But then et al. Is useful. So if you want to cite that author in that particular paragraph for any page of the your review chapter, not only in that particular paragraph, in any further page of the thesis. Okay, you can only one time you mention the multiple author followed by the year, and then the remaining pages you just mention the first name, then et al. But very important thing, et al. Should not be in italics, and there should be always a full stop after et al. So the meaning of et al. Means and many. Okay, along with this fellow, there are many people are there. So that is the meaning of et al. In brief. No? Okay.
In our usual terminology, in our usual everyday classroom practices, many times in a semester we may use the revised reference to the revised Bloom's taxonomy, where we are regularly using et al. Anderson, Krathol, and et al.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. Yeah.
Many of us are mechanically using the same thing without understanding the meaning.
Oh, yeah. Because revised Bloom's taxonomy of that Krathol and Anderson.
Anderson, Krathol, there are 3 or 4 core researchers done together. So first 2 prominent we will say, and third and fourth or fifth core researcher may be there. We indicate them with et al.
Exactly.
Simply means and others.
And others, exactly. Yeah, Benedict sir has cleared. It's okay. It's and others. That is the correct, meaning of that et al. So you please use that also wherever you want, because most of the foreign journal, if you will see, there are multiple authors, sometimes 7 authors even. So cite only even that this API is saying up to 5 authors only you need to cite. I have shown you up to 3 authors. No? If up to 5 authors only, then you need to cite at the first time. Okay, first author, second author, third author, fourth author, and fifth author. If it is more than 5 authors, then American Psychological Association is recommending no need to write all the 7 at the first time even. You can start if more than 5 authors only, you mention the first author name followed by et al. Then the detailed 7 author list you give in your bibliography or in your reference list. Thank you for that question also.
Congratulations, Dr. Anisar, for your very valuable and very relevant presentation in simple language. Yeah. And it is many other
so much, sir.
If I may find it very
sir, we learned from you people. You people taught us. Yeah, I appreciate your contribution in the field of science education. I attended your very innovative lecture in the MET college in that Kanyakumari regarding that taxonomy and classroom. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. And then 2 terms that seems to be interesting, not only for me and for all the listeners, maybe that one term that you have mentioned is the research album. The other one is paraphrasing in reviewing. So could you elaborate a little more the concept for the benefit of all the participants?
Sure.
One thing is the research album, how it could be composed, how it could be maintained, what are the advantages and composition. Maybe multiple different form of compositions may be there, but for a new researcher, a little more elaboration required. And then regarding the citation with respect to the paraphrasing in reviewing.
Excellent. I will, sir. Research album is one of the innovative form of portfolio. Portfolio means we all using now teacher portfolio and student portfolio in our classroom discourse. So we in Central University, especially in a Board of Studies meeting only, we put forth this idea of this research album. And what we came with the scholarship of many of the senior colleagues, what we are expecting from our research scholars from the day one, okay, when they register as a research scholar in the university. Okay, anyway, now we have a 6 months course. So directly or indirectly, the researchers know which area they are going to do their exploration. So based upon that area, what we will ask them, whatever be the data, whether it is primary data, secondary data, you are collected not only from journals or books, even lot of newspapers, lot of, even some of the blogs are accepted, even though wiki and blogs information are not accepted in scholarship, but still some of the, very notable blogs, if it is, published by very worthy scholarly people, they can use the blog information even. So whatever be the, supplementary, complementary data related to their research area, okay, wherever they will feel, whether it's in the form of soft copy or hard copy, keep a record with how to take. For example, in Indian Express or Malayalam Manorama, okay, they find an article, okay, that's a column, maybe editorial, maybe opinion paper or whatever be. That is somewhat directly related to your research area. So you keep a photo or a photostat, and with the reference, okay, date and other things, how to refer a newspaper, magazine, whatever be. So you keep a photocopy in your album. Album means nothing. It can be sometime a portable file. Sometime you can keep a kind of, what we can say, loosely like portfolio. So you keep all the relevant documents. So what I feel. So if why most of the research scholars have not confidence in their presentation, they are still doubt. Okay, they are still not confident whether my argument is sound or not. So what I feel when we investigated, when we did this practice, not all students are following, be frank, but those students they are following. In their presentation, we have an RPMC, Research Progress Monitoring Committee, and these students are, if some of the teachers or some of the delegates they are asking the questions that is not connected with their topic, they are simply opening their research album, means their collection of documents, and they are saying, sir, this is published in this newspaper. I am saying this argument based upon this annual report of MHRD. So they are giving their documents, then they will convince. So both way means the researcher are getting confident in their rationalizing the argument. At the same time, the intellectual forum will be more concrete and more, convinced with the argument for accepting approval and other things. So this is one way of album preparation. And the second things are mentioned about the paraphrasation. So dear research scholars, paraphrasation is very much necessary. We don't be able to quote everything, because sometimes we will read a manuscript very detailedly. We will read sometimes as a scanning approach, sometimes focusing approach, whatever be. So when we will read some 4 or 5 page, you need to write a small write-up regarding whatever you read. So that time, what you have to do, keep in mind, okay, you can write paraphrasation definition fee converting someone else's idea into your own idea, but your own idea means you are not able to change the ideology, or you are not able to change the essence. You are just a rephrasing based upon the art of writing. But after that, you properly give the citation. Okay, from there you got this idea. Maybe if it is from multiple sources, you can give a comma. These are the sources from where you paraphrase the idea. So use quotation and paraphrasation regularly, along with the abstractization and summarization. So that will give you more cited argument of your argument. In that way, you can be very confident in your argument preparation. Thank you very much.
Hello. One clarity required is the paraphrasing require quotation, a single quotation, or is it require a single quotation or in italics?
Actually, sir, for paraphrasation, I will just show you that slide which I have shared you, sir. This is a simple way. Yeah. So in this slide, sir, I used, this is from the APA, this is from the Australian University material I prepared. So if you are making quotation, say we can put, we have to put the quoted document, because we are not even able to change even a single article or single preposition as such. If we will find some kind of mistakes, we can put a sick. Okay, then we are keeping this in double inverted comma. But when we are paraphrasing, see this little bit modification. Underhalter argues that gender equality in schooling is an aspiration of global justice. I didn't change anything about the saying of Underhalter, but in the paraphrasation, I just change a bit. See, like this, Underhalter, even I can say argues. Okay, that I change the things. Equal treatment of the genders in education should be an issue of justice for every society. So I am not changing the essence of his argument, but just I modified the statement of the Underhalter in such a way. Equal treatment of genders in education should be an issue of justice for the society. So in the information prominent also, only the citation, I changed this place of citation only at the bottom, and the remaining things are same. I made here also. Okay, so this is what so in the paraphrasation we can't put quotation mark. That's very important. So when you are paraphrasing the documents, you are not supposed to put quotation mark. If you are giving quotation mark, that's wrong, because quotation mark means you are not supposed to change any of the saying or any of the logic of the author. But in the paraphrasation, you don't put the quotation mark, you omit the quotation mark, and you change the the wording without losing the essence of the argument. Then as per the rules of the APA, you have to mention the citation either in the front time, either in the initial time, or at the end time, as per the rules.
Sir,
am I right, sir?
Yes, sir. You elaborated it very meaningfully. If you permit, let me add a humorous comment made by Dr. Vedmani Manuel, my research guide, with respect to the way in which we are reporting from a previous study using the same mechanism of paraphrasing. So that if 4 people are continuously paraphrasing, for example, the researcher 1, researcher 2, researcher 3, or researcher 4, they may have the researcher 1 will be senior, 2 will be junior, next junior, like that. within 10 years, 4 people are referring the same thing and following the paraphrasing, because then the fourth person's paraphrasing become the exact ditto copy of the original researcher, because in English usage,
Yes.
if we are changing the word order and the sentence fraction order, then there are only 3 or 4 rules by which only 3 or 4 means by which a sentence could be restructured without
Exactly.
losing the meaning.
Yeah.
Also, the fourth level
Yeah.
paraphrasing becomes the exact replica of the original writing, so that it will be caught in plagiarism.
Yeah. We are just changing the synonyms and language.
That's the kind of when we are doing this by following the exact rules, that will be caught if it is doing in a sequential manner. There is another hidden danger is also there, so that the researcher has to utilize the wisdom and intelligence in paraphrasing.
That's very, you see, so Benedict sir's observation is exactly, our wisdom, our curiosity, our intelligence, common sense even, that is very much essential. Otherwise, like sir mentioned, after 4 or 5 trial of paraphrasation, sometime it will become the original relics. Sometime it will lose every essence of the idea also. Sometimes, so both way it is there. So please, we use our serious intelligence and common sense here. Thank you for a very detailed.
Hello.
Isaac sir.
Hello. Anu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Namaskaram. I'm very happy to see Anu once again for this online platform. See, I have a small doubt with regard to the triangulation. See, I already conducted research through triangulation method in methodological triangulation, but I have some doubt regarding the data triangulation. Would you please explain data triangulation?
Data triangulation, sir. That I didn't go like you. I am also didn't use that approach of data triangulation. Most of the time, I am also using methodological triangulation. But one of my colleague, he was a fellow in psychometry. Ma'am. I think. Okay. So. Professor Vishal Sood, he is our dean and currently he's registrar of the university. So he's a psychometrician. So with his discussion, what I came to know from the data triangulation. So if it is not my understanding is not correct, you please excuse me. So what they're doing in data triangulation, so they were using multiple data in order to substantiate their arguments. For example, one of the research, they used the quantitative research like questionnaire data, sometimes rating scale, and sometimes some of the qualitative supplements like some of the interview excerpts kind of data. So the data triangulation, first what I have seen in one of the PhD thesis, they are giving their all kinds of finding based upon their quantitative analysis, say with respect to t-test, f-test or whatever be. Based upon that existing data, they are giving some kind of argument to the clarity toward the research objective. Then with the help of the qualitative data, that verbatim they are stating in the same dialects, and then they are giving a kind of explanation to the verbatim and linking that finding, maybe through observation, maybe through interview, or maybe through some kind of report analysis. They are just adding that particular data, whatever be that primary or secondary data, and then they are making a kind of mutual discussion of that data, quantitative data, with some qualitative data or secondary data, and finally there is a discussion based upon the data analysis. That is something a very critics of writing. Sometimes they will say, my quantitative research I am getting this way, but the qualitative way of data they are getting even a kind of what we can say an intellectual debate or intellectual discussion upon the data, and sometimes through this data triangulation we will be able to make some kind of more qualitative finding. Sometimes our quantitative data will be highly supplemented and complemented with the other kinds of the data. So this is what my basic understanding, Isaac sir, regarding this thing.
Okay,
If
okay,
anyone of
okay. Thank you, thank you.
you, thank you.
So there's a question by Pavitra S. Shall I read it, sir?
Please, please. Yeah.
So will the publications done before the PhD period be considered for the interview? Will a textbook review be considered as a publication? Shall I read it once more, sir?
For the interview, yeah, please, please.
Will the publications done before the PhD period be considered for the interview? And will a textbook review be considered as a publication? Sir, it's mute, sir.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I didn't. In our interview, because as per my experience in the screening committee of this university, when we are sitting in a screening committee, university normally for the assistant professor post, now the university will have a manual, like most of we are following the APA guideline, UGC 2018 regulation. In the 2018 regulation, what we are saying, for the assistant professor kind of post, there is no particular demand for PhD. Okay, so whatever be your publication, okay, during your early time, like after basic qualification, after the basic qualification, basic qualification is for the assistant professor in education. We all know MUT and plus UGC NET is the basic qualification. The PhD is not established in force. Okay, so in that case, after your MUT even, okay, if your MUT is publishing. And if it is publishing in a very pioneer journal, now within a short time, we all know the CARE list is coming. So in that way, so now in the Indian University, very few institutions, they are very particular strict in CARE listed journal. Even the UGC listed journal, peer reviewed journal, referred journal, all of them are taking. But for the new research scholars, my suggestion is whenever possible, you try to publish reputed articles, which was corpus index or web of science as per your availability and your a lot of and like one question another student has asked regarding book review, right? Am I right? Book review or some
yes,
book
sir.
chapter?
Yes, sir. Book review.
Sorry, that book review and book chapters and books, even for the associate professor interview, where I just got an entry. In that time, it was particularly mentioned even in the all Central University. 7 CARE listed journal is mandatory. So even if you have one number less and you can't show, minimum you need a 7 number for associate level. Even assistant level, there is no particular thing is required. But book review can't be substituted with a journal article for claiming. I know a very good teacher in our university. He is 100 times devoted for the teaching, and his passion is teaching. He is not much interested to make a writing, but he is the best teacher in our university. Unfortunately, sir has only 4 publications. But I was also in that committee. I could not be able to, we could not be able to recommend his for the. So that is something regarding the hands of the policy makers of the country. We can't do anything. But anyway, we don't want to make a big kind of battle. Whatever be the things which you could be able to publish, you publish in reputed journal, and don't go for the number. Publish in good journals, and definitely try to publish it. As a research scholar, what I can suggest you can write, you can prepare, research literature review, like meta-analysis of the literature review. There you don't want to say, primary data. And, in your PhD coursework itself, try to publish 2-3 literature review in some, in SAGE and Elsevier. You can see one separate section for the literature review article, the review article. So when you will publish those articles, that will give you more credibility of your review chapter also. So in that way also, you can think about publication of your literature review in secondary literature database. And that way you can slowly and steadily, you can improve your writing skill and publication skill. You will get the credibility. Yeah. Thank you. I'm a little fast in my, So please excuse me. I don't know. You got something, I think. That scholar. Taraji,
Thank you,
my
sir.
voice was clear, right? Yeah,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir. The questions in the chat box are covered, sir. And
Yeah, thank you.
participants, if you want to be in person, ask something in person, please raise your hands and ask, sir. Bindu
Yeah,
ma'am,
thank you. Thank you.
thank you, sir. Bindu ma'am,
Thank
can
you
we
so
move
much.
forward?
Okay, Tara. Okay.
Okay, sir. Shall we move forward for the vote of thanks, sir? Anu, sir?
Yes, Bindu ma'am, I will forward you these, PowerPoint and all kinds of the reference material to your WhatsApp mail so that you can upload officially na, for the
Okay, thank you, sir.
participants.
Thank you very much. Actually, I asked my research scholars to prepare a research diary. The thought was the thought I conceived was clear to that of the research album. Okay,
Yeah, it's
sir.
very
Thank
nice,
you.
nice initiative. Nice, nice. Thank you.
Gratitude is the heart of gratification. We are very grateful to our resource person for having shared such valuable infos with us. Thank you so much, sir. To propose vote of thanks, I would like to call upon Smriti S. Pillai onto the line. Smriti ma'am, please.
Yes, Tara, am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Thank you. Respected principal, today's resource person, research coordinator, and all other delegates. A warm good evening, one and all. It is with immense pleasure I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to this gathering. With gratitude to God, I would like to express my gratitude to our beloved principal, Dr. K.Y. Benedict sir, for all his support and guidance in all our endeavors. Next, I would like to express my gratitude to our resource person, Dr. Anusa, Assistant Professor, Associate Professor, Department of Education, and for all the talks delivered by him is very useful and very relevant for the research scholars, and it is very useful. I am thankful to you, sir, for sharing the documents related to APA also, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to propose vote of thanks to our research coordinator, Dr. Bindu ma'am, for all his support and guidance. I also express my thanks to all the research guides, teachers, research scholars, Beard and Emmett students for the all-hearted support. And once again, I thank you all gathered here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bindu ma'am, and all the organizing team of Mahathir Training College, one of the very good leading institution of the Kerala. Thank you for all your initiative of organizing such kind of wonderful interaction. That's a very good initiative. I appreciate your efforts and your pain. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our session is being concluded by a national anthem. National anthem.
भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you so much. So I'm leaving with your permission.
Thank you, Anu, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.